With us today is Outback Ray. He has been performing animal shows since 1987, but has had a passion for animals since he was a child. He has appeared on television, radio talk shows, and has trained animals for commercials. Not only does he do shows, but he also breeds, trains, and studies exotic animals. Outback Ray is here today to share his knowledge and passion for his unique hand-raised family of critters. And with that, I will turn it over to you, Ray.
Well, hello, how are you guys doing today? Well, like she said, hi, my name's Outback Ray, and I'm going to be doing your animal show today. And today I'm bringing amazing animals from around the world. All the animals that I have here today are captive born. I get them as babies and I raise them up. They're all very, very friendly. And what I'm going to do is tell you a little bit about each one. And as I'm talking about each one, if you guys have a question about them, just type it in the chat. And if I see it, I'll answer it as we're going along, but if I don't catch it, then we'll get those at the end. And I'd like to, yeah, like she was saying before, I would like to, get to all your questions for each animal that way instead of waiting to the end. So let's bring out the first animal. We're going to be heading around the world. Our first stop is Northern Australia, and the first guy we're going to bring out, his name is Ziggy. Ziggy's been with me. I picked him up in July of 1996. So he is 24 years old. So here we go. Let's bring out my little buddy, Ziggy. Uh-oh, Ziggy's hiding in his little hide box. Come on out, Ziggy. There you are. What are you doing hiding there, Ziggy? Everybody wants to see you. Are you ready for the lizard? Whoa, look at this, you guys. Now, he's a lizard, but you know what? He is actually a very special kind of lizard called the blue-tongued skink. Now, when I bring him in close, you're going to see he has a bright blue tongue. And that's because he's very slow. He's not fast like you guys or other lizards. See, lizards rely on their speed to get away from predators. So if an animal comes up to him, he can't run away because he has a big old body with tiny little legs. So if an animal comes up to him, he can do a couple of things. One, he camouflage. His body pattern is perfectly designed like his environment. Two, he acts like a snake. He tucks his legs along his body. He moves just like a snake, and that scares animals away because where he lives, he looks just like a snake called the death adder. It's one of the most venomous snakes in the world. Another thing he does is he puffs his body up really big. He tilts his body to the side to make him look a lot bigger. And then what's he do? He sticks out that blue tongue. Watch that blue tongue come out. Yep. And see, in the wild, guys, when animals display bright colors, that's nature's way of telling you, I'm dangerous, stay away, or I'm poisonous. But guess what? He's not poisonous at all. Ziggy just wants you to think he's poisonous. Yep, and how do his scales form? That's perfect. When he was born with scales, and their body produces larger scales. It's keratin. It's kind of like our fingernails, guys. And their whole body is covered in scales. Reptiles have scales all over their body, and that is their armor. Just like a knight before he goes on to battle, he puts on his armor. Reptiles have heavy plated scales. Now, all reptiles are different. Some reptiles have scales like rubber, and I'll show you one of those in a little bit. But you know another cool thing about him, guys? When I bring him up, I want you to notice he has a hole in the side of his head. Do you see that hole right there? And then when I spin him around, you're going to notice he has another hole on the other side, and those holes are his ears. You got it, his ears. He also eats fruits and vegetables. Yep, and insects. His favorite food is strawberries. Who likes strawberries? You guys like strawberries? I know I do. I can hold a strawberry up, and I see you guys out there. I got a screen right at the bottom. I'm looking at you. They have I hold up a strawberry, he runs up, eats it right out of my hand. He also likes blueberries and raspberries and all different kinds of cool things. Now, Ziggy likes to sit funny for a lizard. We're going to see if I can get him to sit up just like you guys. Here we go. Oh, there you go. Look at that. He's a funny lizard, guys. And I'm going to bring him in because you know what Ziggy loves to do? Ziggy loves to give lizard kisses. So let's bring him in for a lizard kiss. Give him a lizard kiss. Give him a lizard kiss. Ready, set, lizard kiss. There you go. Look at that. Another thing about him is he sheds his skin. Now, when snakes shed their skin, they shed in all one piece if the humidity or moisture is right. But lizards, they're not like that. They shed, it's a mess. their whole body starts coming up all at once, and they just start rubbing up against stuff. And what they'll do is they rub up against rocks. And snakes are the same way. When snakes shed their skin starts coming up. They get little fluid underneath their scales in their skin, and then they push up against a rock, and then they start rubbing up against stuff. And he does the same thing. He pushes up against something. Now, he is 24 years old. He just ate this morning, so he has a pretty full belly. He actually had salmon this morning. I gave him salmon. He eats salmon. He eats canned dog food. He eats rodents. He eats fruits and vegetables. He gets a really good variety. He even eats bugs. He loves his bugs too. So Ziggy too has a long tail. He uses that tail as a weapon. They can whip their tail, but another thing they can do is break their tail off. If that tail breaks off, what happens? It can grow back. But even though it grows back, it never looks quite the same. So I tell everybody, if you pick up or hold a lizard, you never want to pick them up or pull them by the tail. Now, the blue tongues aren't really known for whipping their tail like other lizards, like an iguana. An iguana is a really big climbing lizard, where these guys, they basically stay on the ground. Did you guys know when you look at an animal, you can tell a lot about that animal by their feet? If you look at his little feet, what do you see? Tiny little toes and little nails. And you know what that tells you? He walks along the ground. His feet isn't designed for climbing. Now, if he had webbed feet like a duck, that's for swimming. If he had long fingers and long nails, that's for climbing. Yep, so, and then if they got really big, heavy nails that are hooked like that, those are digging animals. So you look at an animal, it'll tell you a lot about them just by their feet. Now, we're going to open it up for any questions about Ziggy. He is the northern blue-tongued skink. I saw some questions up there. I don't know if I missed any. Maybe I can, the librarian can help me if she saw something that I missed, or if anybody else has any other questions, or we can go to the next animal. Does he smell with his tongue like a snake, and how long can he live? Those are great questions. One, yes, they do. They use that tongue to help taste or smell the air. They also can live. Now, there's not a lot known about him because, believe it or not, and where does the black scales? Yep. So there's not a lot known because this was one of the first ever captive-born babies in the United States back in the mid-90s. So they thought they only lived about 10 to 15 years. But Ziggy is 24 years old, so I have a feeling he's going to go well over 30 years. Some lizards have been known to live 40 years plus. And the black and all the colors in them help them camouflage with the surroundings. These markings right there help blend in with the dirt and the leaf litter and all that kind of stuff. And his nose is pointed because he pushes through the leaves and he wiggles like a snake and buries himself underneath the leaf litter in the dirt. So, okay, that's his tail. I think it's time for the next animal. Unless I missed them, can I can't see your questions. Oh, she can't see the questions. Oh, or that's it. Oh.
And Ray, we did have one other question. I might have missed it. What is his predator?
Well, that's a great question. You know, predators are other snakes where they live. There's snakes that will try to eat them. Another thing that eats them is dingoes or wild dogs, and also other lizards. There's lizards where they live called the monitor lizard, or they call them goannas. They get really big and they eat other lizards and snakes and rodents and birds. And this is one of the things on their meal. Another thing, believe it or not, is humans. You know, the Aboriginal people have been known for eating lizards too. So there's definitely a lot of predators out there. That's why it's very important for them to be able to look like their surroundings. So great questions, you guys. So I think it's time for the next one. But before we do, can you guys all wave bye to Ziggy? Say bye, Ziggy. Ziggy is the blue-tongued skink found in northern Australia. Let's give him another little close-up look for you guys. There you go. Look at that. Okay, we're going to slide Ziggy right back here so he can go back underneath his hide box. And we're bringing out the next animal. We're going to leave. Let's see, where should we go to next? Let's leave Australia. We're going to head to the Andes Mountains of South America. We're going to bring out an animal, guys, that's critically endangered in the wild. And what that means, there's not many of these guys left. By the way, I'm coming to you guys live from my reptile room. This room is a really big room. It's about 25 feet long by 14 feet wide. It has its own separate furnace, an air conditioner, a dehumidifier that runs just this room. This room is kept around 80 to 84 degrees during the day, and at nighttime it drops down to about 78 degrees. So I don't keep my mammals in here. I actually have another room built for my mammals, but this room all behind me, guys, is pythons. This is a wall that's 16 feet, well, it's 25 feet long, but my 16-foot wall is all enclosures, and they're all, almost all of them, these are empty up here, but most of them have pythons in them. And you might see a head pop up here and there. This one, though, is shedding, and when he's shedding, he likes to hide. If he wasn't shedding, his head would be all over the place. So here we go. Let's bring out the next animal. We're going to head to South America, up in the Andes Mountains, and we're going to bring out Bindi. Come on out, Bindi. Here we go. Now, we have the Chinchilla, you guys. Now, her name is Bindi, and Bindi is called a fancy chinchilla. Chinchillas are known for being one of the softest animals in the world, but you know what? They don't take baths in water like we do. Chinchillas take their baths in dust. Every night I put a big bowl of chinchilla dust. It's a gray lava powder. She jumps in there, rolls over and over and over, and that's what keeps her soft. Another amazing thing about her is the fur. Out of all the land mammals in the world, chinchillas have the thickest fur of any land mammal in the world, and that is because where they live, it gets extremely cold, so this thick fur helps keep them warm. It's kind of like when you guys go out in wintertime or when it's cold, you put on your coat. Well, chinchillas are born with a natural thickest fur coat of any land mammal. Another cool thing about her is she is nocturnal, and nocturnal animals come out at nighttime and they sleep during the day, but they get kind of used to our schedule. So she likes to come out and see us during the day. She loves to be petted. She also has long little whiskers. Watch when I bring her up close. Do you guys see those long whiskers? Yep, those are her feelers. She uses that to help find the food. And those giant ears, look at those ears. That helps for a couple of things. One, the ears, giant ears have a lot of veins in them. It's kind of hard, maybe hard to see that, but those veins actually help cool their body down. And those also help trap sounds because they have lots of predators too. Yep, humans, people are their #1 predator, but there's birds of prey that come after them, and there's also snakes and different things that might try to come after them. So they have to be very fast, and that's what chinchillas are known for. They're known for being very fast. She is also great at climbing. They jump from rock to rock, and that's what helps them keep away from predators. Super good hearing like dogs. Yes, they do. They actually not as good as dogs. Dogs have better hearing than chinchillas, but they definitely have enhanced hearing. Matter of fact, I've been told multiple times once by a doctor and also by other people that chinchilla's eardrum, so inside their ear, is one of the closest to a human or our ears. So they like to look into chinchilla's ears, and that helps them sometimes understand our ears, I'm told, so I'm not an expert on that. But look at those big black eyes. Nocturnal animals, they use those big black eyes to help absorb the light at nighttime. Another thing about them is that long tail. Do you see how long her tail is? What does she use that tail for? How about to balance herself? Now, if you guys ever walked along a log or a rock, what do? If you don't want to fall, you put out your hands to help balance yourself. Well, chinchillas, they use their tail to help balance. When they jump onto the rock, they move it from side to side so they don't fall. And she is called an herbivore. An herbivore is a plant eater. Yep, she only eats herbs like plants and roots. And look at those long whiskers. Those whiskers are actually helps her find her food, because at nighttime it's dark. She'll stick her head down into the rocks. She's moving her whiskers around, trying to find roots and plants, and she nibbles on them. And their teeth are always growing, so they're always chewing on stuff. Okay, so their teeth are always growing, so they're always chewing on rocks, sticks. But a cool thing about their teeth is their teeth are always hitting each other. So as their teeth are chewing, they rub on each other, and that's what helps file down their teeth. Now, they're in the rodent family, same family as squirrels and rats and mice. But the cool thing about chinchillas is their lifespan. Chinchillas have been known to live up to 20 years. I'll have to say 30, but it is 20 years. Now, the longest one I've had live was Speedy, and she lived 19 and a half years or so. So, again, her name is Bindi. She is the fancy chinchilla. I named her after Bindi the Jungle Girl. So, does anybody have any questions about the chinchilla before we head off to the next animal? What do you think, guys? Any questions?
Ray, we had one. It's, what is Bindi's favorite food?
That's a great question. So, her favorite food is little slices of carrots. And I don't know if she'll eat it right now, because sometimes when I hold her, she won't nibble on carrots. But yeah, she's mainly a nocturnal eater. So right now, oh, she's nibbling on a little bit. So at nighttime, guys, they're nocturnal animals. So does she have good eyesight? Great eyesight. But I feed them treats every night. So every night, our ritual, they're nocturnal animals, all my mammals. So I go in there, I give all my mammals their food, I give them fresh water, and then I give them treats. And that's the cool thing. As soon as I walk into my animal room, all my mammals, they know, guess what? It's time for treats. So they all run up to the front of their enclosures and they're waiting. And every day I like to give them different stuff. So some days they get little slices of carrots. Last night they got zucchini little slices. We'll give them a little dandelion greens and all that different stuff. We also buy little yogurt drops made for them. So they get lots of treats and they know it too. They're all waiting. They come right up to the front of their enclosure, wait for their treats, and then they run away. We also give them Timothy hay. So they get Timothy hay. They get pellets that are specially designed. Each animal has a pellet, a green pellet that is designed for their nutritional needs. They also get their hay and their treats. And so my animals are very, very spoiled. Every morning I spend 2 hours from 6 a.m. to 8, sometimes even 9, 2 to 3 hours cleaning my reptile room. My mammals take about an hour. So it's a lot of work. So I'm very blessed. My wife does all the mammals. I do the reptiles. So I kind of caught it right at the very end. I think allergic. A lot of people say that chinchillas are good for people that do have allergies to pets, but I don't know that. I don't know. I was kind of seeing, so I wasn't sure if that's what it was, but that's what they say about chinchillas. But they do roll in dust. I don't know if I got into that. Chinchillas, they don't take baths in water like we do. Chinchillas, they actually take their baths in dust. So every night I put a big bowl of chinchilla dust. It's a great powder, and she jumps in it, and that's what keeps her so soft. They don't do good with water. They don't want water on their fur at all. So,
Hey, Ray, we had another question. Why does she run so fast?
That is a great question. They run fast to get away from predators because where they live, lots of animals will come at them. Birds of prey will swoop down on them. So they got to be able to run fast. They also have big, kind of like a feet like a kangaroo. It's a long foot that's like this that they use to hop. And these guys are jumpers. They got big enclosures with different levels and wheels and tubes. And they said, you should see them. When I go to get her out of her enclosure, do you know how I get her out? I see her in the right-hand side. I don't go to where she's at. I actually go to where she's going. So I fake right and go left because they're so fast that if I try to catch her where she's at, by the time I get there, she's gone. So there's a little secret to catching her. She always runs under her wheel. So I act like I'm going to go to catch her where she's at, and she takes off under the wheel, and I switch right over. And this one is about full grown. I do have one upstairs. I got different colored ones. They come in different colors. I have a solid white one named Snowball. I have an all black one named Grizzly. This one lives with Grizzly. This is about an average size, but Grizzly's actually bigger than her, and they weigh right around 2 pounds. I think Grizzly's almost 3 pounds or so. So that average is, I think, right in the 2 to 3 pound range, right in that area. Wants to know how long I didn't see how long something was. The tails, maybe?
Yes, how long are their tails?
Yeah, very good question. Their tail is right around 8 inches long. So, and some of them have a little bit longer tail. Grizzly's tail is a little bit shorter, but my white chinchilla has a little bit longer tail. Now, this one lives with Grizzly. Snowball, she lives all by herself. She is unlike other chinchillas. Chinchillas are usually like to live together and play together. But Snowball, she's a little grumpy. You cannot put her with another chinchilla. I've tried it, but she wants to be by herself. Now, she used to live with Speedy, the one that lived 19 and a half years. But then once she, passed, she never accepted another one. She's like, nope, I'm solo. I got, so that's pretty cool. Okay, guys, we're bringing out the next animal. But before we do, can you guys all wave bye to Bindi? Bye, Bindi. Okay, we're going to slide her right back here, bringing out the next animal. Slide this one right back here. And we are bringing out, I know. Let's go to a theme of animals that like to go into a ball or do something similar to that. So we're going to leave the Andes Mountains of South America, guys, where it's extremely cold. We are now heading to the rainforest of South America. So instead of being cold and rocky, we're heading to a lush plants and rich dirt and lots of rain and sun and humidity where it's real hot. So here we go. We're going to bring out, I forgot. He's not in his enclosure. I have him over here because he likes to go and hide all the way in the back where it's harder to get. Normally, this next one I'm bringing out is outside all summer long, but I didn't put him out. All the rest of them are outside. Whoa, look what we have here, guys. It is the turtle. This is a very, very special kind of turtle, and he is called a tortoise. That's right, the tortoise. Now, they call him a tortoise because he lives on land. He doesn't live in the water like turtles do. And what do you think turtles and tortoises do when they get scared? You guys know what they do. What do you think? They go right into their shell and they pretend to be a rock. And that's kind of that ball thing I was telling you about. Turtles are rounded and they go in their shell. They put their legs in their shell. Now, turtles and tortoises have heavy scales on their legs. And when they go in their shell, they put their legs in front of their face and block their face and protect themselves. And they do the same thing in the back. And they go into that ball form and they bury themselves down in the dirt, or if they're open on land, they'll just go right in there and protect themselves. Now, guys, did you know there's a turtle in Ohio called the box turtle, or the eastern box turtle? But not only does it go in its shell, but they have a special design. They actually have a flap that closes up and they can seal themselves in the front where you won't see the legs, head, or anything. All you see is a closed flap of the shell. It's pretty amazing. Now, like I said, he is called the red-footed tortoise. I want you to look. You're going to see he has red scales on his legs. That's why they call him a redfoot. And he is from the rainforest of South America. He is about full grown, but depending on where they come from, just like people, they get all different sizes. And someone asked, how old is he? That's a great question. Franklin is actually over 30 years old. I picked him up in the early 90s. I rescued him. And when I picked him up, guys, he was already 3 to 5 years old. So this tortoise right here is over 30 years old. They can live up to 100 years. Now I want you to look at the color of him. The color is really cool because this tells you the kind of environment he lives. See, where he lives, it's the rainforest. It's really dark dirt. And this dark shell helps camouflage with the dirt. But see, in the rainforest, guys, there's a lot of yellow in the plants. And when plants die, they turn yellow. So that's why down here and on the sides he has yellow. But also there's a lot of plants and orchids and things like that that have the red and pinks and yellows and oranges. So this color is the perfect color for him to camouflage or look like his surroundings. Now this one right here, like I said, is over 30 years old. He can live up to 100 years. He's about the medium-sized tortoise. They actually have giant tortoises like the Aldabra tortoise or the giant tortoise called the Galapagos Island tortoise. They've been known to live well over 200 years, and they get really big. This one, about 30 pounds full grown. I have a Burmese mountain tortoise outside, can get up to 100 pounds. Does he have? Nope, he does not have any allergies or anything that I know of. And he's also called an herbivore or plant, or not, he's not herbivore, an omnivore. Now, guys, an omnivore means he eats plants. Most of us are omnivores. We eat plants, but we also eat meat. He does eat a little bit of meat in the wild. He'll eat worms, but he also eats carrion. And carrion is another word for a dead animal. Say they go along and they see a dead animal, they might nibble on a little bit for extra protein to help them grow and get a hard shell. Now, the shell, I'm not knocking it out. I'm just showing you they got a hard shell. It's usually never good to really knock on a turtle shell. You can rub it, though. That's pretty cool. Now, he also has a bumpy shell. Look at his shell. It's bumpy. That's not natural. This is the reason why I rescued him. The guy that I got him from wasn't giving him the proper diet or the environment. He was too dry. He's a rainforest animal. He likes it where it's really wet. I have a misting system on him where it actually acts as a rainforest. Every 30 minutes, it rains on him. Except in the summertime, they're outside. I got big 8 by 8 foot outdoor pins for them, and they spend their summer soaking up the sun, eating dandelion greens and clovers and grass. And then I also give them cut up zucchini, and they get strawberries and blueberries and all kinds of really cool stuff. I have 3 rainforest animals. I have the Burmese mountain tortoise of Vietnam. I have the elongated tortoise of southern China. And then I have this one right here, which is the red-footed tortoise from the rainforest of South America. I also have a baby leopard tortoise from Africa, but they live more in a dry savanna environment. Now, this one right here is super duper friendly, but with any turtle, guys, you never want to, and that's what goes with any animal, you never want to put your finger by the face. And turtles, they don't have teeth like we do. They have a beak like a parrot, and that's what helps them chew right through his vegetables. Yep, so, and meat or whatever he's eating. I don't really give him meat too often. He mainly gets his protein from a pellet. I give him 80% of his diet is raw fruits and vegetables, but I also give him a tortoise chow. It's a pellet. It kind of looks like dog food, but it's designed for tortoises. I have 2 kinds of pellets. One for grassland or desert tortoises, and one for rainforest tortoises. They're actually different. And someone asked, how fast can they walk? And that's a great question. He can actually move quicker than you think. A lot of people think turtles are really slow, but some can actually move pretty quick. This one's not the fastest tortoise. I've had one, like my pancake tortoise, it would take off really fast. Pancake tortoises come from Africa, and they actually have a soft, squishy shell. And how big do their shells get? That's a great question. Their shells can get up to 2 feet. I've heard reports of ones that come from certain parts of Bolivia that can actually get 30 inches long. They're the largest redfoot. So it really depends on the range they come from. There's ones called a cherry-headed tortoise, the cherry-headed red-footed tortoise, and they live in the islands. They get brighter colors, but they stay smaller. And turtles, they sleep in their shell. Usually they go right in the shell. These guys, I got heavy mulch, and they like to bury themselves down in the mulch, and they go to sleep by going in their shell. I keep them outside all summer long except at nighttime. Oh, yeah. So in the daytime, I live in Bath Township, so kind of like Medina, a lot of Medina areas is really rural. We have tons of woods, and we have coyotes and fox and raccoons. And even possums. So I don't want to take any chances on my animals having to defend themselves. Even though they got this heavy, powerful shell, it's just not, I would rather them not fight for their life. So I keep all my animals indoors at nighttime. As soon as it starts getting dark, I go out and get all my tortoises. So, and yes, guys, you can see lots of turtles in the wild. We have painted turtles. They're smooth. We have musk turtles. They're really small and round. We have snapping turtles, which are very dangerous. Never try to pick up a snapping turtle. They got a really long neck. They can reach around and bite you. We have invasive species of like red-eared sliders that are now taking over lots of parts. They have map turtles. Lots of really cool turtles. Blanding turtles, spotting turtles, North American wood turtles, box turtles. So there's lots of really cool turtles in Ohio. This one, though, is found in the rainforest of South America. And remember, all my animals, captive born, they're not from the wild. This one, the guy that I got him from, he got him from a breeder shipped up from Florida. But like I said, he wasn't giving him the proper diet, so he ended up getting kind of a pyramid shell. Does he have nails? Yes, he does. He actually has long nails, and those nails help him dig. Now, his nails, since he was a baby, the guy kept him on a cement floor. He didn't keep him on mulch where it was soft. So his nails didn't grow right. His nails actually grew sideways because he wasn't stepping on soft. So his nails kind of went like this. Instead of like this, they kind of went to the side because the guy was keeping him on too hard of a surface. And his back legs, he's definitely due for a pedicure. And they're long and straight. So his back were fine, but his are getting a little bit long, so I need to clip them. So,
Right.
Okay, any other questions before we go to the next animal?
We had one more. What makes his shell so important?
The shell is so important because they're very slow. So animals that come up to him, he has that shell to protect himself. Now, if he was this slow and he had a soft body, they probably would go extinct because the animals would eat them. See, each animal naturally has a defensive behavior or something that keeps them, they adapt to their environment to be, every animal is perfectly designed for their environment. Let's put it that way. And this one, he's designed perfectly with his shell. That's hard. So how long does he live? I think that's what it said. I caught it right at the second. They can live right up to 100 years. Some tortoises can live over 200 years. There's a tortoise now that is over 200 years in captivity. So, and the word was he was an adult when they brought him in. So they're guessing he's around 250 years old. And I didn't know if I missed any other questions in there.
One more. Are they able to dig with their claws?
Yes, they are. They're great diggers. He digs himself in the mulch, but they dig in the dirt. Outside, I have pins that move all the time because if I keep it in the same spot, they dig down in the dirt and they really mess up the area. So what I do is I have an 8-foot by 8-foot pin, and me and my wife will pick it up and we move it to the next spot. And the funny thing is they eat all the dandelion greens, all the clovers, all the weeds first, and they leave the grass. They always eat the grass last because grass is a little bit harder for them to digest. So they actually naturally weed my yard. So then I move it over to the next spot, and then they go out there eating all the clovers and dandelions and the same thing. So, and then I missed the last question. I didn't see it. Was there one more, or was that it?
That's all I had. Thanks.
Okay, you guys, we're off to the next animal. But before we do, can you guys say bye, Franklin? Franklin is the red-footed tortoise from the rainforest of South America. And what does he do to protect himself? He kind of goes into that ball, into his shell. So that's our theme for the next 3 or 4 more animals is going into a ball. So let's slide him right back here. He's about to go outside. Right now I have him in a little tub over here. And then as soon as the show's over, he's going outside. And then I'm going to feed him. Actually, you know what? I'm going to keep this here because I'm going to use this for the next animal. We're going to leave the rainforest of South America. We are now heading to Northern Africa, and we're going to bring out an animal from Northern Africa that when I tell you his name, you guys are going to know what kind of animal he is. Are you guys ready for the challenge? Okay, here we go. The next animal we're going to bring out, his name is Sonic the... I know you guys are saying it right now. It's Sonic the Hedgehog. You got it. From Northern Africa into parts of Europe. So here we go. I'm going to come right in here and bring him out. Uh-oh. Here he is. He's being a little grumpy, guys. Okay. What did I remember? Where our theme, guys, right now with the animals is a ball. What do you think is going on right now? He's actually, woohoo! He's in a ball, and right now he's flexing his muscles. And what's happening when he flexes his muscles? His quills are lifting up. Right now, those quills are all sticking up. And when I touch him, it was actually hurting my hands because he's in his defensive behavior. See, hedgehogs are just like tortoises. They're very slow. And if you look at their feet, remember, you can tell a lot by an animal by their feet. He has tiny little toes like that lizard I showed you. And the tortoise had longer nails for digging. And he goes into a shell, kind of forms a ball. Well, this guy does the same thing, but he doesn't have a shell like a tortoise. He goes into a ball. Let's see if I can get him to go back into his little ball. There he goes. Oh, go in there all the way. Give him little tickles. Now, you can see his little nose a little bit, but he can close up all the way if he really wants to. There he goes. He's all the way closed now. And he's bouncing his body a little bit. But now watch him come out. Watch his little head peek out. his little head will peek out, and there comes his little feet. And the cool thing about hedgehogs is their belly. They actually have a very soft belly. Now, you got to admit, is that not one of the cutest animals you've ever seen? I think they're one of the cutest animals. Now, like I said, this is called the African Pygmy hedgehog. And they call him a pygmy because he stays small. He doesn't get big like a porcupine, but when you look at him, he's covered in what? Spikes, or another name for those spikes are quills. Some kids even call them pokies, and that's for sure because it definitely will poke you. I have two hedgehogs. My other hedgehog, his name is Pokemon. I named him Pokemon because every time I pick him up, he pokes me, man. But he doesn't have a shell like a turtle, guys, and he's very slow. So what does he do? If an animal comes up to him, he can't go into his shell, so he goes into his ball. He flexes his muscles. He lifts those quills up. They get really tight, and those quills are sharp, and they will hurt your hand. Yes, they will. At the end of each quill is a tiny little hair. Quills are actually made of hair, but at the end of the quill sticks just a little thin hair, and when it sticks into your skin, the whole quill usually won't stick into your skin. It can if it gets you really hard, but usually it's just a little tip that stays in your skin, and it makes your skin itch and burn, but not for very long, maybe 5-10 minutes or so. And it's not really bad unless you're not used to it or whatever. It might, everybody's pain tolerance is a little different, but it's not too bad. But here's the cool thing, guys. Right now, he's getting nice and relaxed. And as he gets relaxed, his quills will actually start laying down, and I can actually pet him. And now it's not hurting my hand at all. Does this spike up in his quills? Something about quills. I didn't catch the end part. The quills cannot be shot. They cannot shoot their quills out at you. That's one of the myths about them. And the reason why that myth came about that they can shoot quills at you is because they see animals running around with quills all stuck on them. And the people in the area, they think that they shot the quills at the animal and the animal took off. But actually what happened is the animal went to bite him, and what does? He jumps his body in the air. Let's see if we can get him to hop. There he goes. There he goes. See how he hopped his body? He jams the quills into the animal's face, and that hurts the animal, and the animal takes off, especially the nose, because a lot of times animals know what he is, and they know it can hurt them, but they're hungry. So they'll come up and smell him with their nose, and their nose is like ours. It's very soft and sensitive. So they go to smell him, and then he bounces his body, bounce again. There he goes. There's a little bounce. And that stops. It jams the animal, quills into the animal's nose, and it scares him away. There's Sonic the Hedgehog. Yep.
Will they run away from predators was one of our questions.
That is their first instinct. Yep, is running away from predators. But most predators are a lot faster than him, so that usually doesn't work. So then they'll go into their ball, complete ball where you don't see any part of their body, and then they'll bounce their body in the air, and they'll stay in that ball until the animal leaves them alone. Then they'll come out a little bit to see if the coast is clear, and if it's not clear, then they go back into their ball again and start bouncing their body, and they huff and hiss. They go, let me see if I can get them to make noise for you guys. Could you hear that through the mic? He's going, and he's warning you. He's making warning sounds, telling you, hey, I'm dangerous. But he's not dangerous. He's actually a big old sweetie. I've raised him from a baby. He loves to be held. He's only a little grumpy during the morning because in the morning, he is a nocturnal animal. So he, all night long, guys, you know what this guy was doing? He was running in his wheel. See, he has a big enclosure too with tubes, but no climbing platforms like the chinchilla. His are igloos, little hide boxes, tubes on the ground, and then he has a wheel for him to go into. It's not barred wheel, it's a plastic flat wheel that he goes in, and all night long he runs that wheel. That's his treadmill. That's how he gets his exercise. And I'll tell you what, I should hook a generator to that wheel because the way these guys run their wheel, I think I could probably power my house. That's how much energy, actually all my animals do. All my animals have exercising wheels. But he is right around 3 years old, and they can live up to about 6 to 8 years. So they don't have a long lifespan like a lot of other animals. Some animals like rats and mice, they only live about 3 to 4 years, where these guys can live 6 to 8 years or so. Now he's called an insectivore, and an insectivore is an insect eater. So they run around in the wild and they basically find the insects running around the ground. They're not diggers. Remember, look at his feet. Do you see those tiny little toes? He barely has any nails. He has little nails, but they're not really long. They're not designed for digging. He has a nose designed for getting the bugs off the ground. Can he roll? Yep. No, he doesn't really roll. When he goes into a ball, he can't roll. But he will roll if he's on a hill. So say he's on a hill and an animal comes up to him and tries to get him, he'll go into a ball and then he'll roll down the hill. But he didn't really want, you know, he doesn't purposely roll. That just happens because of gravity. Yep, or because of the hill. And his eyesight's not the greatest. They can see good, but they're more designed for seeing at nighttime. And look how his nose is touching the ground the way he walks around. That's naturally for smelling for bugs. And he eats mealworms and superworms. We give him lots of little treats. Instead of giving him vegetables as treats, his treat at nighttime is mealworms. But his main diet is insectivore diet food. It's food designed for animals that eat insects. We also give him cat food too. There's a certain kind of cat food that the zoos use that are really good for insect-eating animals. And does he hear good? Yes, they're okay at hearing, not great. So they're about average. So my lights are going on and off. So one of the lights. Maybe not good contact. So, okay, guys, do we have any questions about this one before we go to the next one? This is Sonic the Hedgehog from Northern Africa.
Ray, does he dig for bugs?
No, he's not a digger. He has tiny little feet. The next animal I'm going to show you is a digger, and you're going to know the difference. I want you to notice his feet. Tiny little toes and tiny little feet. The next one we're going to bring out is a digger, and he also eats bugs, but he's not from Africa. The next place we're going to head to is a place called Paraguay, South America, and you're going to notice the difference when it comes to his body. And remember, our theme is curling into a ball. So that's the next animal does that too. As a matter of fact, he's probably one of the best animals in the world of going into a ball. It's pretty amazing. So any other questions before we go to the next animal? Okay, here we go, guys. Oh, here we go. Why doesn't he have... Oh, why does he have white fur on about him? It's very cool because he doesn't have quills on his belly, because when he goes into a ball, he tucks his head in there and his fur on his belly is so soft. And also where they live, this can help blend in a little bit from their surroundings and stuff. There's a lot of like white kind of markings on the ground and things like that. So, and it's just the way they're designed. But look at that cute little face. But yeah, they don't have spikes. If they had spikes on their belly, when they curled into the ball, they'd be poking their own face. And how fast can he run? In his wheel, guys, super fast. But if you put him down here, he only runs like maybe a couple of miles an hour. He's not really that fast. You could actually probably walk faster than he can run full blast. So that's why he relies on his quills. So great question. Okay, you guys, great questions on all these animals. Can you guys all wave? Bye, say bye, Pokemon. Or not Pokemon, Pokemon's my other one. Bye, Sonic. This is Sonic, the African Pygmy Hedgehog. Okay, here we go. We're sliding in. We're right back here. We are off to the next animal. We're leaving Africa. We're heading to Paraguay, which is in South America. Now, this is our third South American animal. Our first South American animal was the chinchilla, known for the softest fur, but they live way in the Andes Mountains, guys, where it's extremely cold, rocky and cold. The next South American animal was the red-footed tortoise from the rainforest of South America. The third one is this one right here. This is Yoda, and it is the armadillo. Look at that, you guys. Remember the ball? The hedgehog curls into a ball to protect himself. This guy does the same thing, but you know what? He doesn't have a shell like a tortoise. Well, he does, but his shell is differently designed. Instead of bone, this is more keratin. It's kind of like your fingernails, and his actually curls right into a ball. That's his head, and that's his tail. He doesn't have spikes like the hedgehog, and he doesn't have the bones of the tortoise. This is more flexible, but these guys can actually run very fast. But this is called a three-banded armadillo. They call him a three-banded because on his back he has 1, 2, and 3 bands. He also has 4 bands of skin. But when he opens it up all the way, you really don't see those bands too much, but you will see his 3 armored bands. There's 20 different kinds of armadillos. Out of all the different kinds, they're the only ones that can actually curl into a ball. Yep, like I said, that's his head, that's his tail. He seals himself up into a ball to protect him not only from predators, but it also protects him from his favorite food. And do you know what his favorite food is? Insects, just like that hedgehog. Yep, he mainly eats ants. Now, I want you to watch him. He's a transformer, guys. You see him in a ball? You guys want to see him transform into an armadillo? Ready, set, transform. Whoop. There he goes. Now, look how amazing this guy is. I'm going to get him to come up for you. There he goes. He's like, oh my gosh, I'm dancing, dancing. Look at that. I want you to notice his front feet. Does he have tiny little toes like the hedgehog? No. What does he have? He has long digging nails. Remember, like I said before, you can tell a lot about an animal by the front feet. He has those long nails. He uses those because what he does, guys, in the wild, look at his back feet. They're hoofed. They're kind of like a horse or a cow. So what does he do? He runs up to an ant mound. He stands up on his back feet. Look at that tail. That's like a kickstand. If you ever ride your bike, you put down your kickstand so you don't fall over backwards. Well, you know what? This guy, he uses his tail so he doesn't fall over backwards because he stands up in front of an ant mound, and the ant mounds come up off the ground, and he digs at them in termite mounds. And as the termites are coming out, he eats them. He has a long tongue like an anteater. He also has heavy armor all over his body. And that armor protects him from predators, but it also protects him from the ants. Because the ants actually can do a lot of damage to not only us, we get huge welts from them, but this guy, they can do a lot of damage to him. So his whole body, his legs, his tail, his whole body is covered in armor except for one place. And that is his belly. Soft belly. So what does protect his belly? Curling into a ball, or one other thing, I want you to notice what's coming out of his belly, and that is hair. All that hair stops the ants. Ants have a hard time holding on to that hair, though. Hit that hair, and it knocks them right down, and it stops the ants coming in to his belly. Now, he's a golden armadillo. There's 3-banded armadillos. Most 3-banded armadillos are grayish black color. And that's because they come from other parts of South America, Brazil, and where the dirt is really dark. But in Paraguay, it's more of a drier desert savanna environment. So remember, we had a rainforest animal from South America, a mountain, one that lives up in the mountains where it's cold, and we have this guy that lives more in a desert savanna environment. There he goes. Let's see if I can get him to stand up for you. Stand up. There you go.
Ray, can he stick his tongue out when he's in a ball?
Not when he's in his ball, but what he does is he sticks his tongue out when he's eating ants. And this guy is actually super duper fast. Do ants bite the armadillo? Yes, they do. They climb all over him and they're attacking him. Ants have soldier ants. They're the first line of defense. As they're tearing open, those soldier ants come out and they're climbing all over him, attacking them, trying to stop him from eating them. That's why he has all this heavy armor and the heavy hair and those long nails for digging open those ant mounds really fast. And like the other two, the tortoise is slow, the hedgehog is slow, but this guy is lightning fast. He's also nocturnal basically too. They like to come out mainly at nighttime. So during the day, he's kind of sleepy. Like I said, this isn't him being fast. I mean, if you wanted to, he could run so fast it'd be hard to catch him. And can he bite? That is a great question. No, they really can't. Their mouth is more like a straw. But you know how they can do damage? They can actually hurt you pretty bad if they wanted to. He's captive born. He was born at the off facility of the Miami Zoo. I got him from the veterinarian at the Miami Zoo. But how do they hurt you? They use their nails. They pull you in, and then they clamp down on you like a crab. Woo, look at him. He's running at you. And a cute little face. So what he does, do ants bite something? I saw. I didn't catch the whole thing. So he's actually like a crab. This is like a big pincher. He grabs you with his nails. He pulls you in, except this guy's super friendly. I've raised him from a baby. He's never once tried to hurt anybody. His predators are birds of prey also. Birds of prey have been known to grab them, fly them way up in the air, and then drop them, and then come after them again. jaguar, there's, but you know what the number one predator are, guys? People, believe it or not, because in South America where they live, people eat armadillos. Believe it or not, we have armadillos in the United States called 9-banded armadillos because they have 9 bands on their back. Ants don't make them sick. Unless a lot of them bite them, they can make them really sore. Like say the ants get to his belly and they start pinching him because ants have mild venom to them. They can actually make them very irritated and upset. They might not eat for a couple of days. But we don't feed him. His tail is for us so he doesn't fall over backwards. So when he's standing up doing that, what he's doing now, he's actually dancing right now, doing the Armadillo Dance. Woo-hoo, do the dance, do the dance. He also taps dance, watch. Yep. And then you put him down, he goes running around. He's actually highly attached to my wife. I can play with them, my kids can play with them, but my wife can actually take them, go like this, she flips him upside down and she pets him. See me, he wants to play. But with my wife, he'll go limp and she can actually pet his belly. Sometimes he'll let me do it. Like he loves me to pet him and stuff, but he doesn't relax, he doesn't love as much. He actually runs to my wife for attention. It's pretty funny. So in North America, the 9-banded armadillos get a lot bigger. So
how hard is his shell?
Their shell isn't hard like a tortoise shell. The shell's actually flexible. So I go like this, I can actually move the shell. So it's kind of like, I'm trying to think of something I can compare it to. It's actually kind of like your fingernails. Yep, just like your fingernails. Your fingernails are hard, but if you take them, you can bend them a little bit. And that's how they are. Their shell, though, is actually a little bit harder than our fingernails. So I got my camera angled down a lot so I can show you the animal more so my head's cut off. But so yeah, it's not as hard as a tortoise, and it's a little bit harder than our fingernails. So right there in between. So, and his name is Yoda. I named him after Star Wars. And he was born at the Off facility in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So he was second generation. Both of his parents were born at the Miami Zoo. So he is a second generation captive born baby. So, okay, any more questions before we go to the grand finale animals, you guys? Oh, he's doing a dance. Why does he have a pointy nose? That's a great question. He has a pointy nose because he digs holes into ant mounds. He sticks his heads into those holes, and as the ants are pouring out, he's eating them. So that head is designed to be able to get into the crevices that he digs into the ant mounds. Also, he likes to dig open like bark of a tree, like a fallen tree, because they know that there's lots of bugs underneath the bark, and that head helps him get in those crevices and stuff. So, okay, we're off to the last group of animals. We're going to bring 2 animals out for the last one, 2 of the same kind. And I'm going to bring out my favorite kind of animal last, and that is a snake. And yes, he can see. Do other insects bite them? Yeah, other insects like beetles and things like that will try to attack him. That's why he has all this heavy armor. So, can you guys say bye, Yoda? This is Yoda, the golden armadillo from Paraguay, South America. We're going to slide him right back here. We're going to stay with the ball team, guys. We had the armadillo go into a ball. We had the hedgehog go into the ball. We had the tortoise that goes into a shell into a ball. And the next one we're going to bring out, normally I don't handle animals that I feed on the same day, but I'm not going to hold them for very long. And we're going to bring out my favorite kind of animal, and that is a snake. Yes, I'm going to bring out 2 snakes today. We're going to bring out a smaller one and a bigger one. The first one we're going to bring out comes to us from Central Africa, and his name is, where are you anyways? There you are. Come on up. This is Skittles. Well, I thought Skittles ate, but Skittles did not eat. So I got to feed him. I think he missed it underneath the paper. So this right here is called a ball python. And they get their name, ball python, because when they get scared, they curl into a ball. Right now he's moving, so he's not curling into a ball. But they curl into a ball to protect themselves. But there's one problem, guys, and that is his color. Look at his color. That color isn't what they look like in the wild. This is called a candino or a candy ball python. So instead of being brown bodied with black patterns through them, this one, it's hard to see in the lighting, I'm thinking. but this one is real orangish color, yellowish orange. Certain lighting, I can get it to go orange. There it is. It's orange and purple. This is kind of a lavender purplish color, grayish purple lavender color. And then their body is yellowish orangish color. And this isn't a natural. This is a kind of a morph of the albino. This is a T positive albino. And it makes them come out this unusual color. Now, what's so amazing about snakes? One, they don't see good. They don't hear like we do. They have ears that are not developed, and they don't have ear canals. So they really don't have ears. So they mainly rely on tasting and smelling the air. When you see a snake, their tongue's always coming out, and they're using their tongue to smell. Let's even get his tongue to come out more. There you go. And another thing about snakes, their body acts just like a giant arm. It touches you, it wraps right around, and gives you what I call the snake slap bracelet. Yep, as soon as that snake touches you, what's it do? It wraps his body around you. I can actually let the snake go, and it can hang from me just like that. It's pretty amazing. And this is a baby snake. It just turned a year old. This snake has potential to get 4 to 6 feet long. And they don't eat every day like we do. A snake like this only eats once a week. Yep, and sometimes if I feed them a really big meal, I only feed them every 2 weeks. But as babies, we feed them every week as they're growing very fast. But once they get about adult size, we cut it back to about every 2 weeks, which is pretty cool. And this one right here just turned a year old. And again, this is Candy, the candy ball python. Okay, we're going to bring out the next one. How old can they live? That's a great question. They can live up to 20 years, even 30 years. So I've heard 20 to 30 years or so.
And Ray,
do snakes hibernate? Some snakes actually do hibernate. Did you guys know that some snakes can actually freeze solid? Now, you never want to do that, but up in Alaska, they've actually found snakes, frozen, garter snakes, frozen in ice. And then when the ice thawed, the snakes actually came back. Somehow they could slow their heart rate down, even being frozen. I guess they can't even slow their heart rate. I don't know. They froze. Who knows how it happens, but they've actually found snakes frozen in ice, and they came back. It's pretty amazing. So not these guys. These guys don't live where it's cold. So not all snakes can tolerate cold. All snakes are different. Some snakes are smooth scales. Some snakes have rough scales. Some snakes have scales that feel like rubber. Some have really heavily keeled scales that look like furry, like fur kind of like on them. So they all look kind of different. This one, though, is a constrictor. They wrap around and squeeze their prey. Some snakes use venom. Now, some people say poisonous snakes, but snakes are not poisonous. Snakes are venomous. And the difference is venom is something that bites and gets injected into you like a shot, where poison is something you eat and you ingest through eating it. So if it bites you and you get sick, it's venom. If you bite it and swallow it and you get sick, it's poison. But we're going to bring out the last one. The last one we're going to bring out is a bigger one, and you guys might have heard of this guy. His name is Spongebob. You guys ready for Spongebob? Here we go. This is Skittles, the candy ball python. Can you guys say bye, Skittles? Here we go. We're going to slide Skittles right back here. See if we can find his food. He didn't eat his food. I fed him this morning, and he always eats, so. None of my animals eat live. All my animals eat frozen thawed. But we're going to, so I went to feed him a small mouse. He didn't eat it. But hold on. Before I do that, I'm going to do this. Because I just moved the mouse. Don't want the smell of my hands, so I got a little bit of hand sanitizer. Going to sanitize really quick. By the way, I know you guys are not touching animals today, but I always tell everybody after touching animals, it's always best to wash your hands. I'm a clean freak, guys. You could surprise me anytime and see my collection, and my stuff is spotless. I mean, all my animals are clean daily. All the enclosures are clean daily, but I still recommend washing hands after touching animals. So here we go. We're going to bring out my little buddy named Spongebob. Now, I used to key. All these enclosures, guys, are under lock and key. By the way, this next snake I'm going to bring out is extremely friendly, but they're ambush predators, which means they like to hide and go after their food. So, I see somebody with, what is that? Is that a bunny? No, that's a dog. I see someone with that cute little doggy. I see your cute little doggy. Okay, so I use a snake hook, and that tells him I'm not feeding him. This is a blunt, it's not a sharp hook. I kind of just touch him a little bit to tell him, hey, look, it's not feeding. Actually, he's getting fed tomorrow. Today, I fed all my smaller snakes and medium-sized snakes. Tomorrow, I feed all my bigger snakes. And I have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 6 big pythons. So here we go. And spoiler alert, Spongebob, if you have not seen him in a show before, is a large python. Here we go. This is also a very rare python, too. Oh, here we go. Rare meaning there's not a lot of this kind around because this is a special one. And again, they all are. Whoa, here we go, guys. Look at this. This right here is a very special kind of python called the Burmese Python. Now, Burmese are kind of common, but what makes him special is his colors and his kind. This snake just turned 3 years old, and he's already 9 feet long. He's called a granite. Look at the spots all over his body. That's not normal. Normally, a Burmese python has big square patterns that look like puzzle pieces, and they fit. But there's also a morph of Burmese python. They can live up to 30 years. They call the granite, which instead of getting the squares, it gets speckles. Now, another cool thing about him is his color. He's an albino like that other snake. So instead of coming out black and brown and tan, this snake right here is yellow, white, and he has a pink head. Look at that pink little head. Look at him giving you kisses. Yep, now he is also a hypo. And a hypo is another gene that strips away all the black pigmentation to their skin and turns them more of a creamy color. What's really cool about this snake is this snake has potential to produce a solid white snake with blue eyes. Matter of fact, I have one off in the cut over here, which just ate a really large meal. But I have lots of snakes, about 20 snakes or more. I don't know, I haven't counted, but this guy right here is only 3 years old. They can live up to 30 years, and his mother was over 16 feet long. So these guys can get 16 to 20 feet long. They get really, really big. And he's also not venomous. He's a constrictor. They wrap around and squeeze their prey. They can swallow really large meals. Their mouth is just like a balloon. Look at him. He's coming right for him. Now look at the front of his face, guys. His top lip has holes all in there. And those holes are pits. That actually helps them see at nighttime in infrared. So if an animal comes by, they can see their body in a red image because mammals' bodies are around 99 to 98 degrees, and the air temperature is a lot cooler, around 70 degrees. So that's almost a 30-degree difference, and these pits right here actually help them see the difference. It's pretty cool. That's because snakes don't have good eyesight. They mainly rely on tasting the air.
Ray?
Yep.
How wide is he able to open his mouth?
That's a great question. They can open their mouth almost completely straight up and straight down. And they don't have our jaw comes down and it connects to our chin. We got a bone here and then it goes back up. So we got them. Snakes don't have a chin bone. Snake's jaw comes down and stops, and it's elastic in here. So when they swallow their meals, they stretch their mouth just like a balloon. A lot of people think snakes like unhinge their jaw, but actually it's more of their mouth they use to stretch real big. If you ever blow on a balloon, it goes from big to really small. Well, snakes' mouths can do the same thing. It's pretty amazing. And they don't see good. They mainly rely on their smell. Look at this cute little face. And this one, like I said, is 3 years old. This is the Albino Granite. This one comes from the Southeast Asia over in Vietnam, Myanmar, and they live in the jungle. And they live where it's very hot and humid. So, and this one's a sweetheart. It's probably my favorite to use in shows because this one's actually a girl. So I don't know if I've been saying he. This is a girl Spongebob because she is just super duper laid back. Where the other one, not this one right here, this one moves a lot. I still use him. Not my favorite. I mean, I still use him. He's good, not mean or anything, but he just moves a little bit more. Moves more than this one, twice as fast. And then the one down below here I use that one on my weekend. I do birthday party shows. I used that one last weekend, and he doesn't stay as relaxed like this one. He moves with a little bit more power. So this one's just super calm. And then I have another one all the way down. I have a Rax going all the way down to the top. And that one is super calm too, just like this one. But he's a little bit bigger than this one. So,
Right.
and then I have other ones. I have green Burmese Pythons that look like this, but they're greenish color. I have ones that are more whitish color. I'll show you another. Well, these guys just ate.
Do snakes have eyelids?
No, snakes actually, I'm not going to pull them out. They just ate a really big meal. But no, snakes cannot close their eyes. So, but yep, so they don't have an eyelid. You know what their eyelid is, guys? Their body. So what they'll do is they can actually tuck their face down in between the folds of their body, and that's how they can shield their eyes from the sun. So I don't use lighting in my snake enclosures because these guys live in the rainforest. They don't like intense lighting. So I don't use lighting. Now normally I light this room up above me. I have lights, and right now the lights are off. And that lights up the enclosures good for them, but it's not overly bright, which is important. And that's another reason why I have white enclosures. So, and these are all run on a computer, by the way. I have a probe that goes to each bottom of these with a heating element in there, and it goes to the computer and it tells it how much electricity to give to that heating probe or to the heating element to keep that at the right temperature. Like I said, I keep this room about 82 degrees or so, and their hot spot is about 95 degrees, and their cool spot is right around 82 degrees. Because these guys live near the equator where it's extremely hot and humid all year round. So they're also now found down in Florida. So they got loose during the hurricanes. People think that people just let them loose, but it was mainly from Hurricane Andrew when they had tens of thousands of them come in from Southeast Asia, and then the hurricane took out the warehouse with all the snakes, and they got loose in the wild, and they ended up now establishing themselves in the wild. So, and this is the Burmese Python. This is called a pearl granite Burmese, or an albino hypo Burmese Python. So, okay, any other questions about snakes, guys? This is the last one. Look at these coming right for you. This one is actually very smooth. Very, very smooth. So I'm going to let this one slide right back in there. Like I said, all snakes are different. Some snakes have rough or keeled scales. Some have smooth scales like the Burmese Python. Some have oh my goodness, rubbery feeling scales, or there's all different kinds of textures depending on the snake. Okay, a couple of things. One, like I said, that was the last one. I hope you guys enjoyed all the animals today. Also, I do birthday parties, guys, where I come to your house where you get to be the animal helper for every animal. So remember, Outback Ray for your birthday party. I do traveling animal shows. And if anybody, thank you guys so much for being on today. That means so much to me. And, you know, my passion, you know, guys, when I was little, I struggled with reading and writing. And my parents took me to the library all the time to get me books on animals. So I would do little reports on them, and I'd read about them. And the libraries are a pretty amazing place to get some incredible books. And I love to read. While I'm in here cleaning every morning, I have an app called the Libby app, which is through the library. I actually, I get audio books, and I listen to audiobooks while I clean the animals. Helps my 2 hours go by. So important reading, very important, you guys. Again, thanks a lot for having me. And again, my name is Outback Ray. Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much, Ray, for being with us today, and thank you everyone for participating. Again, this video will be available on our social media channels after today, and we also have another children's event coming up on Saturday. This Saturday at 10:30, one of our Medina residents, he's actually from Brunswick, his name is Nate the Great, he will be putting on a magic show for us, and you can register at mcdl.info/events for that. Again, thanks so much for joining us today, and thank you, Ray, for being with us. Have a good day, everyone.